Okay guys, so we are now going to do adding and subtracting decimals. Okay, now as you can see, it says lessons 4, 5 and 6. That's because it's easy just to show them all together. Okay, there's just one or two different techniques for the adding and subtracting, but it's almost the same thing. There's no need for it to all be in separate videos. Okay, I can show you in just a few easy steps, a few easy ways. Okay, so I've got my problems ready. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so adding and subtracting decimals, the first thing you need to do is be very careful the way you add and subtract. You need to line everything up in place value. Okay, very important. So I don't want to see anyone, and your teachers don't want to see you doing something like this, okay? That's not right. Is anything in the place value? No, okay? Place value, ones, tens, hundreds, right? So the 5, you know, should not be there, should be there, okay? In the ones, and that's how we add and subtract. Okay, so exactly the same thing on the decimal side. So lining is very careful. Guys, the other part, when you're writing, use plenty of space and paper. There's no rush. Okay, use as much paper as you need. Some students, a lot of students I've seen over the years, right? They write so small and they write the numbers next to each other that they don't line correctly. So I have seen people write like this. You see that? And they literally write so close like this that when they write it like this, they often, very often, make mistakes because it's too close to see. Okay? What I want you to do, use lots of space. Okay? So, taking our first problem, right? We have 5.9 plus 2.7. You see that, guys? There's lots of space. We can't make any mistake of what number is in which place value, right? Tenths are very clear. Ones is very clear. Okay? So 9 plus 7 is 16. So you write a 6 there. The 1, where does it go? We carry it over to the next side. It doesn't go there. No. We carry it because it's a 10. So we need to add it onto this one. Okay? So now we have 1 plus 5 plus 2. So 5 plus 1, 6, 7, 8. And because we lined everything so nice and neat, the decimal place is so easy to see that it goes right there. Okay? No mistakes were made, nice and clear. Okay? Next problem, we have 2.57. See, give yourself space, guys. Plus 7.7. See, I have lots of space. Now then, guys, I want to add one little extra thing in, okay? When you're solving these problems, ideally it would be very nice and much better for you to use squared paper, okay? Because that way you can put each number in a box. Sometimes when you use lined paper, you can be tempted to squash the numbers together where you might not line it properly, okay? Squared paper will be so much better for you. And if you don't, there's one more thing you can do, which I encourage so much, especially at this stage, to make sure you don't make mistakes. And that's draw some lines in to separate everything, okay? Let's make it into a grid, okay? See that? Now I can make sure that everything stays in its box, okay? It's nice and neat, everything is spaced out, and it stays in its box, okay? And now, I can continue. So we have 2.57 plus 7.7. Now as you can see, there's an empty space here, right? So guys, at the end of a decimal number, if there's nothing else, we can add zeros. It's called annexing, okay? We can add zeros because there's no need for these zeros at the end. They have no value. We can add as many as we want, okay? So we can add 0 here. Now we can start solving, right? So 7 plus 0 stays with 7, right? 5 plus 7 is 12. So the 2 goes here. Does the 1 go here large? No. What we can do, because we have boxes now, right? We can put the 1 here in the corner. So now we know that when we've done this addition, we need to add this 1 in. So 2 plus 7 is 9. 9 plus the 1, which is in this box, gives us 10. So we put the 0 there and the 1 there, right? And now we've used that 1, we can cross it out. And the decimal point, you see, is lined up. So our answer is 10.27. Okay? Now I'm going to continue using these grid lines for every question because I just think they're so helpful to make sure that you don't make a mistake. Okay? Next problem, we have 3.45 subtract 1.6. Okay? So we're done with the additions. They're easy, they're straightforward, right? You're adding, then you carry 1, that's it. Now the subtraction, there may be 1 or 2 things that pop up, okay? That's why I've got more subtraction problems. So, first things first, let's draw in our grid lines, right? Now you can see everything is nice and clear and in its own box. Okay. 5 subtract empty space is nothing, right? It's 0. So 5 subtract nothing is nothing. It's 5 0. Sometimes you can just say quick things easy. Right. 5 subtract 0 is 5. 4 subtract 6. Can we do it? No. If I have 4 pens, I can't subtract 6 pens from it because there's only 4. This is the technique that you need to do. You may have learned this last year. Okay? So what we need to do, because we can't do 4 subtract 6, we're going to borrow a 10 from the 3. Okay? So we're going to borrow a 10. So we're going to cross the 3 and subtract 1 from it. So now there's 2 here. Okay? And the 10 that we borrow, we will add it to the 4. So 10 plus 4 is 14. So now we can put the 1 there. So now it's 14. Okay? So now we can do it. 14 subtract 6 gives us 8. So now I can add the number in. 8. Decimal points. You see that it's lined up nice and neat already. And 2 subtract 1 is simply 1. So our answer is 1.85. Okay? So this borrow technique, you will have to use it a lot. It's very common when subtracting. This is why I strongly suggest space and the grid lines so you can make sure you're borrowing from the correct number and you're subtracting from the correct number. Okay? And that your decimal point comes into the right place. Believe me, I promise you guys, I have seen so many people make the easiest of mistakes because they didn't space. Spacing will make all the difference. Okay? Once you've practiced so much, practice makes perfect, right? Once you've practiced so much, then you get used to it. You won't need the grid lines, then you may start using less space, but that's only after so much practice. Okay? So let's take our next example. We have 4.01 subtract 2.95. Okay? So grid lines. Okay. I didn't need to add this line here, but this is just to show you There's nothing coming after, and these should be in the correct place value. Okay? Hundredths, tenths, ones. Okay? Now we can start to subtract, guys. 1 subtract 5. We can't do it. Okay? So we need to borrow a 10 from here. But guys, there's a 0. There's nothing to borrow. So what we have to do now is a double. We have to borrow from there to there, then there to there. So we have to go step by step. Okay? Do this very slowly. Take your time so you make sure you don't make a mistake. It's very easy to skip and go from there to there. No. Step by step. Don't miss nothing out, okay? So, we're going to borrow a 10 from there, okay? So we're going to borrow the 10. So 4 becomes 3. Okay, and the 10 comes here. 10 plus 0 is 10. Right? Now we can borrow 1. Now it's not a 0 anymore, it's a 10. So let's borrow 1 from the 10, right? So now this becomes 9. The 10 comes over here in front of it. 1 plus 10 is 11. That's an 11. Okay? Now we should be able to finish our question. 11 subtract 5 gives us 6. 9 subtract 9 is 0. Nothing left. Decimal point. And 3 subtract 2 is 1. 1.06. Okay? So be very careful. Sometimes you have to do a double borrow. Okay? Okay, next question. We have 1.5 subtract 1.05. Okay? Good lines. You see, my place value, guys, I have seen so many students make the mistake of not adding the lines, and they just see, because they're trying to do it quick, they see 1.5, subtract 1.5, and they write 0. That's why I say, take your time. There's no rush, relax. Okay? Write it out carefully, and then you'll get it correct. Okay? So now, guys, we can see that there's an empty space here. So we annex a 0, the word is annex, which just means adding in, okay? So let's put our 0 in there. Now we can solve it. So we can see it's 1.50, subtract 1.05, right? So it's kind of like 50, subtract 5, and then 1 subtract 1, right? That's the quick mental math way of doing it. But to show how we're working out, 0 subtract 5, can we do it? No. We need to borrow a 10. So we're going to borrow a 10, so 5 becomes 4, and a 10 we will add it on there. So 0 plus 10 is 10. 10 subtract 5 is 5. 4 subtract 0 is 4. Decimal point is already lined up perfectly. 1 subtract 1 is 0. So the answer is 0.45. Okay? I cannot stress the importance. Again, be careful, take your time, space the numbers. Okay? I've seen so many people make mistakes of this question over the years, guys. Okay? And we don't want you to do that. We want you to practice them perfectly. Okay? And our final question is now 15 subtract 6.01. Place value, guys. Place value. Okay? See? Everything is in its place. Tens, ones, tenths, hundredths. Okay? Empty spaces, add zeros. Okay? Now we can see this is where the decimal point is, right? So that means the decimal point also goes there for this number. 15.00 is exactly the same as 15, right? Because these zeros have no value, there's no point in them. But there's a purpose for the subtraction. Okay, so now, not only in this question have we have to add and annex zeros here, but now we also have to do a double borrow, right? Because we can't do 0 subtract 1, so we have to do a double borrow, okay? So, we can't do that. We have to borrow from here. So let's borrow the 10 from the 5, so now it becomes 4, right? The 10 goes here, so now it's 10, subtract 0, but no, it's not. You see, some people do it too fast. Take your time. Now, take the 10 then. Borrow 10, so that becomes 9. Now there's a 10. Now we are good to start solving. 10 subtract 1, 9. 9 subtract 0, 9. Decimal point is lined up nice and easy. 4 subtract 6, we can't do it. Right? This is the easy part. We can see it's 14 subtract 6. If you borrow the 10 from there, you add the 1 there, 14, and this becomes 0. So it's the same thing, right? So it's 14 subtract 6, which leaves us with 8. Okay? So guys, we've used a few different techniques here, especially on the subtraction questions, but as long as you space properly, line it up according to place value, okay, you're not going to go wrong. You're going to get it right every time if you do it like this, and add your grid line to it, okay? I hope that's the most helpful thing from this lesson, is the grid line.